Library Out Loud with your host, Jane Baker. Jane has 7 years working at the Spokane County Library District as a Communication and Development Director. Library Out Loud is about any and all things that are happening at the Library District. Library Out Loud is brought to you in part by STCU and SCLD. Now, here's your host, Jane Baker.
Hello and welcome to Library Out Loud. I'm Jane Baker with the Spokane County Library District. Joining me today is Gwendolyn Haley. Gwendolyn, you are a public services manager and a librarian with the district. Yeah. Yes, and you've been on many times. I love it when we're together.
Be here. Yeah, thank you.
Today we're talking about the Spokane Writers Conference, but before we get to that, I do want to point out that there is a new Engage. This is the district's program guide, and this is all our programs, October through January. And it's chock full of all kinds of great things, and including an exhibit about Hanford. That's why the cover is black and white, and we have a show on that coming up soon. But today we're talking about the Spokane Writers Conference. Yes. It is the 5th annual conference. It's so exciting how this has grown over the years. It started with NaNoWriMo.
That's right. Yeah. So, it would be 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
A colleague and I were talking about people we know who do National Novel Writing Month, which is the month of November, and how cool it might be to do a conference to help people kind of get ready for NaNoWriMo. And so that was sort of where it was born, and we were really fortunate that the Children's Book Writers and Illustrators group was very supportive at the beginning, and so we had some really fantastic published authors from here in Spokane come and share their craft with people, and the session filled up, and people spent all day with us. I think we did 4 sessions that year, and it was amazing. And the response was so overwhelming, we thought, well, we should do it another year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we outgrew the space.
And then we just rolled on to it from there. It's just going. So let's first clarify the Spokane Writers Conference. It's if you're interested in writing.
That's
if
right.
you want to be a writer, maybe you dabble a little. You don't have to be a published author to go to this.
No, you do not. In fact, we have people who are writing all kinds of things, and some people are just starting to kind of dip their toes in the water.
Yeah.
And what I love about this is that we have such a generous arts community in the Spokane region, who will share their expertise. And so they are teaching a variety of workshops, but we've got people who've kind of got a manuscript and they're ready to do what's next. How do I shop this around and find an agent? And we've got people who have an idea, like a kernel of an idea.
Yeah.
And we've got people who've been writing for a long time for themselves and are thinking maybe they're ready to share. And I think for a lot of people, it's scary to invest in yourself as an artist, as a writer. And the Writers Conference is a really low-key way, kind of low-risk way to really take a day, 2 days to invest in yourself with your time. It's free to all participants.
Absolutely free.
And so if you're not ready to enroll in a class or go and get, a writing degree and you're just thinking about it, and this is for you. And if you've been doing it for a while and you just want to meet other writers and hear from local writers in our community who've been published, this is for you.
Yep.
And if you're ready to shop your manuscript around and you've got a finished work or you're interested in self-publishing, this is for you.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
This is for you.
It is.
It is. It's great, though, to not have to put out a financial investment. And you can just say, let me see if these are the type of things I want to go to and how I'm comfortable with it. And so we give you a chance to, like you say, dip your toe in and see how it goes. Well, let's talk about some of the things that are happening at the conference. It is at the North Spokane Library, which is at 44 East Hawthorne.
That's right.
In case you're not familiar with it. But North Spokane Library, Saturday, October 26th, and Sunday, October 27th.
That's right.
And a lot of the sessions are registration.
Yes,
is that correct?
You need to register for everything, and you can register for as many sessions as you want. So if you just see one that interests you, register for that one. If you want to do the whole 2 days, register for as many as you can fit into your schedule.
And when does registration open?
Usually 30 days before. So
Okay.
actually probably next week.
Next week, registration will open. And to register, it's at scld.org. And you just register right online, the library's website, and there you go.
Yeah.
You're good to go. Okay, so now let's jump into some of the sessions that we're talking about. On Saturday, some of the main sessions. Just to give you a few of the ideas of the topics that people will be covering, I love the name of this, All the Feels Quicker, on how to getting more emotion into some of your drafts of writing and becoming more prolific. And that one's being presented by Asa
Maria
Bradley, and you know Asa.
Well, she's kind of a big deal. She's a romance writer. She's been nominated for the Reader Award, which is the big award for romance writers. And I think a lot of people don't realize, for genre writing, romance is the single largest market segment in publishing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it is the most prolific sales. It is the biggest readership. So we're really excited to have her coming and sharing with us. She's doing a couple of sessions, and I'm just thrilled that she's going to be there.
Oh, that's very exciting, and she'll be talking about all the feels quicker. So, sometimes it's hard to get emotion into some of those writings.
In an authentic and real way. Yeah.
Great. Well, and that's on Saturday. And also on Saturday is John Bladek, saying his name correctly. Okay, and he'll be going over Your Words on the Silver Screen, an introduction to screenwriting.
Yes, this is the first time we've had a screenwriting workshop, but I think it's something that John's been working on, and he's a prolific writer for middle grade fiction, which is kind of older elementary school, and so it's exciting to have him bring his expertise in this area, because sometimes people think, gosh, I have an idea for a TV show, I have an idea for a movie, and so it's neat because it's a different kind of writing, and you have to visualize your writing and do it differently. And so he's been a presenter for several conferences, and he's always really popular. His sessions are worth attending.
That's great. To the introduction to screenwriting, because a lot of people are interested in that. That's also, if you're a writer, isn't that the ultimate, to have your writing turned into a movie or
that
a
seems
television
like, to me,
program?
that would be pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's super exciting. So that would be an interest for a lot of people. Also, the Alchemy of Memory, bringing lives to life. This one is interesting, talking about recollection and
writing memoirs. And,
It's something I've always wanted to do, is write this memoir. But I don't remember everything.
Right.
It's like, what all happened? Why didn't I write it down at the time?
Exactly.
And if I took that, would that help?
Yeah, I think it would. And she also just helping us to, think about our memories and then turn them into those stories. And a lot of times people just want to write their memoirs just for their family, and they're like, there were things I want my children or my grandchildren or my friends and family to know about my life, and I don't want them to be lost to time. And I think
what a gift for them
it really
as well.
is, And so some people just want to take a class like that just for their own personal use, with no intention of publishing a memoir.
Absolutely.
Although that's a big thing. There's a lot of memoirs that people are publishing and out on the market. Every time I turn around.
Well, those with interesting lives.
Yeah, even sometimes those with not so interesting lives.
I'm not so sure mine would be interesting enough, but I just like to remember some of it, That's what happens as you get older. So that would be an interesting one to take. Also, Megan Rowe will be doing Finding a Home for Your Art.
Yeah, and this is kind of that business piece of the writing craft that you've got something, and now you're like, what do I do with it? I'd like to publish it. So she's going to talk about submitting your work, whether it's to a literary journal or finding a magazine or a journal to publish your writing. And I think that's great, because a lot of times people have written smaller pieces, and they might be able to get that published and get that experience of working with an editor and getting feedback.
Short stories.
And there's a lot of places and opportunities to do this. I mean, the library published an anthology of short stories and poetry a couple of years ago. So there's unexpected places you might be able to find a home for your art. So she's going to talk about that process of finding the right fit.
That's great. And then listen up, moving from page to stage is also happening on Saturday, and that's with Carolyn Wright. Okay, so already on Saturday we've talked about emotions, screenwriting, memories, a little bit of the business end on getting your writing out, and then also from page to stage.
Yeah, so, this is a nice companion for the screenwriting, because playwriting is a whole nother thing. And we have great opportunities here in the Spokane region to perform and get your works performed, because there's playwright festivals and things like that. So I think that's a really exciting thing to for people to think about, well, maybe I have a play that I want to write, because what I really love is character and dialogue.
Yeah, that's amazing. So that's all on Saturday, and we're not even done with
We're not
Saturday.
even done.
This is a writers conference. This is an awesome writers conference this year. It is every year, but it's just grown, and it's just fascinating. So also happening on Saturday in the afternoon, querying, pitching, creating back cover copy, how to best present your story.
Right.
This is one I'd like to start with. And that one's also Asa. She will be talking about that and how to present your story and moving along through that workshop. And these workshops are about an hour and 15 minutes long. It looks like.
That seems to kind of be the sweet spot for people. It's a little bit longer than an hour, and then we have a long break in between each session, so people have time to move from room to room, but also to ask a few more questions, linger a little bit longer.
Maybe network with some other writers. And we've got this down. We've got a nice schedule for this. Also happening on Saturday from presenters Mary Cronk Farrell and Maureen McQuarrie and Stephen Wallenfels.
Yeah.
The Stakes Must Be Death. This is fueling the emotional core of your story.
Yeah.
The title alone is great.
I know.
Yeah.
You could tell they're all accomplished writers. No, they're another group, and they've presented as a trio several times at our writers conference, and they're all really accomplished writers and published, and it's really going to be exciting to hear what they have to say about and helping to drive that tension and up the stakes so that your writing really pops and is gripping.
It hooks the reader and keeps them engaged. That'd be a nice thing to work on for a writer. Also coming up on Saturday, Kaylee Hong. Am I saying right? Hong. Okay. She's saying, who said that? The crafting the quality dialogue. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is.
Instead of, yes, she said, no, he said. How do you write that?
Yeah, and she's a great presenter. She's working on her MFA out at Eastern. She's published in local journals, and she's just going to be fantastic. And I'm excited to have her back again this year.
Very exciting, yeah. And then we have some small groups sessions.
Yeah, so this is new for us this year because we've grown a little bit every year. So the first year we went from 1 day to 2 days from year 1 to year 2, and then we did that again, and then the third year we had to move to a new location, and we had simultaneous sessions, and then last year we had 2 days simultaneous sessions, and now we're 2 days simultaneous big sessions, but we've added in these small group sessions that are really more for like 5 to 8 people. So you really have it. They're a little bit shorter, but because it's a smaller group, you can actually get some work done, bring in some things that you want to share, and get feedback. So I'm really excited about that because this is for people who want to just go a little bit deeper than they can in the large group sessions.
Yeah, and if it's a little more intimate, sometimes you feel a little safer sharing and those type of things.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're bringing in are learning circles. Do you want to talk about learning circles a little bit?
Well, I'm really excited about this. The library is partnering with a peer-to-peer university, which is a nonprofit, and they help libraries facilitate learning circles. And a learning circle is simply when a group of people all want to take the same free online course, but they want to do it in a way that is peer-supported and in a group. So you have that social component as well, because we all know if you've ever taken an online class by yourself, it can be kind of challenging to make yourself do the work and finish the class successfully. And doing a learning circle is a way that you're kind of building in the accountability, but also the social piece. And one of the things that many people have expressed over the years of our writing conference is they'd love to be in a writer's group and they don't know how to find one. And a learning circle is kind of a way to incubate with a group of people, take this intro to fiction class together, and then maybe spin off into your own writer's group after you've had that experience of working together. So it's an online course that we all take together, and then someone, in this case it's me, I will facilitate the learning circle for about 8 weeks, and we'll meet once a week after the Writers Conference. And so this is just a chance for people to hear a little bit more about what that is and decide if that might be a way of learning that works well for them.
That sounds great. Things have changed with learning. It used to be just classroom and then online, and online is great, very flexible and those type of things. But again, you do need a certain amount of discipline to make yourself stick with it or get over some of the tough humps. And a learning circle would be a great way to get that support.
Yeah, and that's the idea. And so you have your peers and you're all helping and learning together, and it's collaborative. And so I'm really excited about sharing that with our community, and we'll be starting other learning circles on other topics as well. And we can learn anything from, programming in Python to the Science of Happiness is a free course from the University of Berkeley that's available online.
Interesting.
So all kinds of things.
Interesting. I have a feeling we're going to be hearing more about these.
I believe you will, yeah.
Also on Saturday at the Writers Conference, re-envisioning fiction, drafts refocused and reimagined. That's with Polly Buckingham.
Yeah.
And also another one with Snappy Dialogue, a smaller group session.
Yeah, and that's with
working on
John
dialogue.
Bladek, yeah.
And those are all just Saturday. And I'm turning the page because then we're going on to some of the things. Oh, there's more on Saturday.
Yeah, more of the small
and
groups.
on Sunday. But I think we do need to take a quick break before we continue on talking about the Writers Conference. We'll be right back with more on Library Out Loud.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer, and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
I'm Jade Becker, and I'm a senior at Chewilla High School. I'm at STCU's Money Live event. In this scenario that we played today, I was a realtor. My spouse was a city worker. We had an 11-month-old child, and there was a lot of spending for that child, like diapers and formula and had to buy toys and clothing. I'm very glad that I had this experience. It was super helpful. You need this to get far and ahead in life. I'm Jade Becker, and STCU is here for good.
And welcome back to Library Out Loud. I'm Jane Baker, and this is Gwendolyn Haley with the Spokane County Library District. We're talking about the 5th Annual Spokane Writers Conference coming up Saturday, October 26th and Sunday, October 27th at the North Spokane Library. It is a free conference, and it's open to anyone who's thought about writing, who wants to write, who dabbles in it. It's our hobby, or maybe you're trying to make a living at it. We hope to see you up there.
Yeah.
It's a 2-day event. We've been talking about Saturday, and then we talked about some of the small group sessions. And to hear more about all of these things, pick up a copy of Engage. These are available at all district libraries. They're free. They're right there. Just walk in and grab one. And pages 22 through 26 are all about the conference.
And I love that we are right at
right
the
in the middle
center,
of the book this
just
time.
naturally falls open.
That's right. So we were talking about Saturday and some of the small group sessions, and we didn't get through all of the small group sessions.
There's so much going on.
Yeah, this is an unbelievable conference, and it's being offered at no charge. All you have to do is go online and register and show up. Yeah, that's all there is to it. So also small groups on Saturday, we'll be talking about the anatomy of romantic relationships and writing through that. Also polishing a nonfiction proposal, so back to another business type session. And then where am I from? Lists, litanies, and letters. What's that one more about?
Well, so it's kind of a map. They described it as a map for your writing journey. So you kind of start with it's a great prompt. So you say where I'm from, and you start writing down just lists and listing out things, and from that kind of gets the pen to paper, so to speak.
Gotcha.
And the juices flowing. And I'm really excited about that because I think this is going to be a lot of fun. She talks about, there's a poem that we're going to read by George Ella Lyon, and then writing some prose or poetry, something I'm talking about our families, our home, because they tell everyone the advice is write what you know,
Yes,
and where we're from.
Yes,
that's the first place to start, whatever it is,
okay.
and it's a great way to kind of launch from.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we're going to have more of the learning circles for writers
Yeah.
also on Saturday.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Sunday now.
Yeah.
This one, the titles of these programs are awesome. This one's "Don't You Want Me, Baby?" Query letters that work.
Yes.
This is another business type one.
It is. And Kelly Milner Halls is a local author. She's actually doing some programs about cryptids with her her new book for children. She writes prolifically nonfiction, fascinating topics for kids. And if you've got a kiddo who loves nonfiction, you need to introduce them to Kelly Milner Hall's writing, because it's amazing. And she's so engaging. She's been presenting at our conference for a number of years too. So generous with her time.
She's very generous.
And such a great presenter. But honestly, if there's something that she doesn't know about the business of writing and getting your work published, I don't know that it actually is worth knowing, truly. And so this is a great opportunity, again, for people to learn about, you've got something and you need to pitch it, and you're going to send a letter. So once you find the literary journals or other places where there might be a home for your writing, Kelly's going to show you how to write a letter that'll get the attention of the editor and get your work published.
Wow.
Yeah.
That alone is worth paying for a conference, and here we're offering this for free. So that's fabulous. Also, we're talking about poetry, the surprise of poetry, concentration and abandonment.
Yeah. And I've always found, when I've had to write, I'm not a creative writer. I feel like I should have a disclaimer. It's so ironic that I have been helping to coordinate this conference for 5 years when I'm not a writer. I'm married to one, and my daughter is a creative writer, and so that's something that my family enjoys, but that is not at all something I love. And poetry scares me to death. And so I love this because one of the things she says in her description is that we enter into the space where everything in language is up for grabs, and boy, I love to follow rules. So, but if you're like me and you find poetry a little intimidating, I think this will be a great way to kind of dip your toes into that water and try it out. And of course, it doesn't matter what level of writer you are, whether you're a beginner or have a prolific journals and journals of poetry. I think there's something in this session for you.
I think I agree with you. I do find poetry a little intimidating.
Yeah.
And way back when, I did try my hand at writing a little poetry, and I remember getting published in the college literary magazine that was out, and still to this day, I don't know if that piece of poetry was any good. I don't show it to anybody. It is a little intimidating.
It is,
though.
and poetry can be kind of intensely personal too.
Yes.
And that scares me.
Yes. All right. So we'll move on from the poetry
Thank you.
one. And ironically, we're going into writing with grief.
Yeah.
So that's another tough topic.
It is, and I appreciate the way she talks about it. And the presenter is Erin Pringle, and she talks about mourning being a long and varied process. And I think we can all think of times either in our own life and in the people around us that we know and love. Everyone experiences grief at some point, and it might be in a myriad of ways. And so it's something that's ever present with us, really. We don't like to talk about it. And she's going to talk about really allowing your grief to not restrict or dampen your creativity, but maybe to lean into it a little bit and maybe find writing as an outlet for that and to use that. I'm excited about it. I actually may poke my head into that one myself, because even though I'm not a writer, I certainly, we all know people and have experienced that grief and mourning ourselves. So.
Yeah. It's interesting that she says ways to write with the grief instead of fighting it or being overtaken by it.
Yeah.
And so a way to use it, lean into it. That was great the way you said that. Yeah. And then this one, the next session is called Get Some Writing Done.
Yeah, and we've not had a session like this before, but when I saw the proposal, I thought this is great because it's a writers' conference, and we should have at least one session where we're just going to write.
That's it.
And she said, we're going to bring what you're working on, and we're going to get some writing done. And she'll talk about ways to kind of keep powering through, because sometimes it's just the discipline of putting words on the page or on the screen.
Yes.
I almost said word processor.
Uh-oh, giving away your age there. What's that? I have no idea. So
I've never heard of that.
Right.
So
that's a good one. I also remember in college in an English class, I had a professor who would make us write for 10 minutes. 10 minutes straight. She would set a timer, and you had to write. You couldn't stop. You couldn't think about it. You just had to write. And it does make a difference,
It does,
as far as actually getting it going.
Yeah, and to go back to the roots of our writing conference in NaNoWriMo, that's the whole point of the National Novel Writing Month Challenge, is to get 50,000 words on a page in a single month and just get it down.
Get it down.
And it's pretty exciting. If you know anyone who's done NaNoWriMo, it is grueling for them. It's a real challenge. I call myself a NaNoWriMo widow because my spouse has done it several times, and my daughter's done it once too. And I think that was in November where I didn't see them very much because they'd come home from work and school, and then they would kind of disappear. But it was important, and I thought it was important to invest in themselves too in that way. Like, I feel like I'm a writer, but writers write. Yeah. So if you should write, and if that's who you are. And I think giving ourselves permission sometimes to be a little selfish and say, I need to do this. I need to spend some time every day writing. And so it's great to kind of our final session on Sunday is we're going to write. We're writers, and we're going to write.
And you're going to be inspired from everything that we've been talking about the whole conference.
That's the
hope. So before leaving, you get to sit down and actually do it.
Yeah.
So that's great. And then, of course, there's more small group sessions on Sunday, using visual art for inspiration.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of fun, and looking at contemporary visual art and think about ideas what a great idea when you're not feeling terribly creative to take some time and try to inspire yourself. And and again, we live in a great community for the arts, and so sometimes it may be as simple as taking a walk or getting a pass from the library to go down to the MAC and check out what they've got going on and inspire yourself a little bit.
Well, we also have art in all our libraries.
That's right. Yeah, it's as simple as just taking a walk and looking at our shelves and our walls
and different things. Up at North Spokane, I was there just a couple weeks ago, and there was a whole artist display done with onesies, the little onesies outfits that the babies wear.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, and you walk in, you start looking at it, before you know it, 30 minutes have gone by because it's just engaging, and there was a lot of inspiration there.
Yeah.
I should have gone straight into getting writing done after that.
Right.
So, you never know. That's a great session to have, too, with Erin Pringle. Yeah. And then another learning circle for writers on Sunday.
Yeah, so I really wanted to give people a chance to kind of experience what a session of a learning circle might look like. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about learning circles while we're having a learning circle. Wheels within wheels.
Wow. This is an awesome conference.
Well, I'm so excited.
What a great lineup.
Yeah.
And again, we just glossed over quickly a lot of things, but swing into your local district library, pick up Engage, take a look at what all is offered there with the Writers Conference. We have several pages here, and if
biographies of all the presenters.
Yes, and even if you want to know, well, who are these people that'll teach it? We even have all the biographies there, and what a great inspiration. We do have a wonderful literary community in Spokane.
We do.
Fabulous arts community. Take advantage of it and use it, and all at no cost.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a chance just to invest in yourself as an artist, which I think everyone should do.
Fantastic things. So great. Thank you, Gwendolyn.
Thank you, Jane.
And don't miss the Writers Conference. You can start registration next week. The Writers Conference is coming up October 26th and 27th. No charge at the North Spokane Library. Hope to see you there, and until next time, thank you from Library Out Loud.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Library Out Loud is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksMedia.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Library Out Loud is sponsored by our friends at the Spokane County Library District and STCU. Ask Jane a question, recommend a guest, or hear this program again on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Spokane